Grief is one of the strangest experiences that we'll ever have to go through as human beings, because when someone we love dies, it almost feels like our world just stands still. But then you look around and everyone else keeps leaving. Their lives keeps going on. Sometimes that can feel incredibly lonely, especially if you don't have support. Hi guys, welcome back to the Primrose channel. I'm Primrose and this is your safe space for healing, self-care and rediscovery. Today we are talking about what it's like to feel stuck in grief whilst the world moves on. This topic is very close to my heart because November 2025 I lost my sister after her struggle with depression. I am currently in my early stages of grief, and I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to open this YouTube channel to help me process my grief, my healing journey, my self-discovery journey. So today we're going to be talking about the difficulties of processing grief while still holding on to memories, the difficulties and challenges of grieving whilst feeling guilty about making new memories without your loved ones. When you first lose your loved one, it almost feels like minutes take forever. It almost feels like your world has just stopped. There's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of confusion. You might find yourself replaying moments over and over in your head. The last time you saw your loved one, their laugh, the last pictures you took, the last conversation, the last goodbye. I think for me, when I lost my sister, I replayed the last time I saw her. I found myself trying to think deeply what her outfit was like that day. I found myself thinking deeply if I hugged her that day, what she smelled like. And I think it's very important to recognize these emotions when they happen, that's just your emotions and your way your body and your thoughts is trying to adapt and trying to make sense of this big loss and heartbreak. But the difficulties is when you're grieving, you only have to look outside, right? You see that cars are moving, people are going to work, children are going to school, people are going on holidays, people are getting married, people are making new memories. Sometimes it can almost feel offensive to you. You know, sometimes you might even find yourself angry, like, how dare they move on? Like, how is it the world keeps moving on when I feel stuck? When I've just lost someone so important to me, you know? You might find yourself questioning the world and thinking that it's too harsh. Sometimes you're even thinking the world should just pause out of respect, but it doesn't. The world doesn't stop. When you lose someone, I think that's one of the hardest things to accept, that the world doesn't stop for you, you know? People still have plans, people still have deadlines, you know, people still go on trips, people are still making memories, and your pain and the big loss, the big heartbreak you're experiencing, it almost feels invincible. Sometimes it might make you feel like you're grieving alone because maybe friends have stopped reaching out, and not because they don't care, simply because they have work, they have their own responsibilities, they're also probably facing their own challenges. Even though they know that you probably have lost someone, they still have to continue living. However, meanwhile, to yourself, you might think, how can I move on when my loved one is not here? And I think for me, that resonates with me a lot. Every time I catch myself laughing, you know, if I go out with my friends or if I'm watching a program and I'm laughing, sometimes I catch myself and I feel guilty and I'm like, why am I laughing? Why am I enjoying life? Am I moving on? What am I doing? So it's natural to have those feelings and it's normal. And that's the stuck feeling. It's simply love of nowhere to go. So when you find yourself crying or feeling stuck, it just means you had so much love for this person, and that love that you had for them, it doesn't know where to go because realistically they're not here on earth with you. So those feelings of feeling stuck, those emotional tearful moments that you experience, that's a sign of love. That's a sign of how much you loved that person. And I know sometimes society doesn't make it easy when you're grieving. There seems to be some pressure. You might find that people telling you that, oh, it happened 10 years ago, or it happened 4 months ago, or it happened years ago. You need to move on by now. Or maybe you subconsciously, you might be thinking that to yourself, like, I need to move on by now. Why am I still stuck in this space? But I want to tell you something. There is no rush to how long you are supposed to grieve your loved one. There is no time limit. There is no deadline to it. And there is no menu on how to do it, whether it's right or wrong. However you decide to grieve your loved one is the right way for you. Don't question it. And it's okay if you have been stuck in a season where you feel like you are crying every single day. It's okay, because eventually crying does come to a stop. Eventually it does. So whatever emotion that you're feeling right now, don't rush it. Let it take as long as it takes. Remember, holding on to memories of your loved one, it's not unhealthy. It's human. If you have photos, if you have videos for them, look at them. Watch the videos. Watch it how many times you want to. I feel like when I initially lost my sister, I watched and I looked at the photos and videos we made, and it was very interesting to see. Initially it was difficult. Sometimes it's not easy to look at pictures and photos. Sometimes maybe your loved one has been gone for years now and you simply can't walk into the room that they used to sleep in, or you can't look at their clothes or touch their clothes without not breaking down. And that is still grief. There is no time limit to it. But sometimes you might find comfort in looking at pictures and revisiting memories. And that is okay. Whatever works for you, you have to do that. I think people almost take the mistake of listening to advice. People do compare, like, oh, so-and-so lost, their dad or their mom or their whatever, and they're over it. Why am I not over this situation or my grief? Don't do that. The love that you had for your loved one is different to the love that the other person had for their loved one. How they've grieved and how they've processed that, it's worked for them. And yours is simply different. I think you will lose yourself and you will make your grieving stage difficult if you have to compare notes on how other people have done it or are doing it. And remember, the goal isn't to erase them. The goal is to learn how to carry the memories of your loved ones in a different way. Because at first, memories might break you, but later, I promise you, they will soften. I feel like for me, I have days where I can smile through the memories. I can smile through looking at the pictures and the videos. And I have days that even seeing her picture in my phone, my heart just breaks into 1,000 pieces, like as if I'm experiencing that same event over and over again. Also remember, accepting that your loved one is gone, it simply doesn't mean that you're okay with what happened. It means you're learning to live in a reality that you didn't choose. And sometimes that can be incredibly hard, especially if you've lost someone to something like, I can't even compare, but if you've lost someone to something like an immediate, death unplanned. So if it's something like, they got hit by a car, or they were diagnosed with cancer today and 4 days ago they're gone, or if it was suicide, or if, for example, a plane crashed, or whatever the situation is, sometimes it's hard to then just wake up the next day and adjust to living life without that person. So the goal isn't to rush your healing process so you can quickly forget about them and move on with your life. The goal is to go through all the different stages of grief that you have to, and then at the end of it, learn how to live your life without them, but in a different way, carrying their memories in a way that feels comfortable for you. And I think also being prepared that things like anniversary dates, that's always going to be difficult. You know, the date that they passed away, or their birthday, or the first Christmas you're going to spend without them, New Year, or maybe there's going to be a new, baby in the family, someone is going to graduate, someone is going to turn a new age. Things like that will always be difficult. Random things like the smell of perfume, or even when you're in a shop and you see their fruit or something like that, or that they used to buy on a specific date. Things like that can trigger your memories. And sometimes your body remembers before even your mind has processed it. I think I find that whenever it comes close to the day that my sister passed away, my mood is just low. I'm just tearful. I find strength in praying a lot, but sometimes my body already tells me before I even know that that date is coming. So you might feel heavier without knowing why. You might feel irritable, you might feel tearful, exhausted, and then you look at the calendar and you're like, oh, that's why. Grief is cyclical. It doesn't disappear, it revisits. If you struggle with dates, anniversary dates, that reminds you of your loved one, I would say do something to keep their memory alive. Don't try to keep busy to try and forget about them. If you're at home, you can simply light a candle to remember them. If they used to like walking, you could walk in their memory on that day. You could simply write them a letter. Working, maybe take the day off just to be present, just to relax, and just to remember them. It's okay to remember them, because as I said, the goal is not to forget them. Let people make you think, oh, you're being dramatic. You're not. You're simply honoring the person that you loved. And then you will have the guilt of making new memories. Sometimes you find yourself, going on a trip, or being happy, and you question yourself, like, am I supposed to be happy? Do I deserve this happiness? You even feel guilty, like as if you're betraying them by simply living. Here's something that I want you to know. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to experience new memories. You're allowed to feel joy. Sometimes you might just pretend like everything is okay. And another is you might just want to scream silently or loudly in pain. And both of those emotions, you need to recognize them when they happen. Don't ever try to hide or distract or dismiss or feel guilty for feeling a certain way. Whatever emotion wave that comes when you're grieving, accept it. Go through it. Sit through it. Talk through it. And if you're watching this video and you know somebody that's grieving and you're wondering, how can I support this person? Just reach out. Talk to them. Sometimes when people have lost their loved ones, they simply want to talk about their loved ones. And sometimes it's difficult. I think even for me, since I've lost my sister, sometimes people, I can see they don't know what to say. But if you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't know how to support this person, ask them questions about their loved one. They want to know, I promise you. They want to talk about them, because to them, it helps them to keep that person's memory alive. And if you're watching this video and you're grieving, just remember, you're allowed to cry on anniversary days. You're allowed to smile without feeling guilty. You're allowed to build new memories without them here. It doesn't mean that you've forgotten them. It doesn't mean that you're grieving the wrong way. Grief is proof that someone mattered so much to you. And those tears that you keep crying, those thoughts that you have of them, is proof of how much you love them. I'm learning to allow myself to cry if I want to cry. I'm learning to let my emotions out and not hide them. You are human, and you don't have to rush your healing to match the speed of the world. I hope this video has helped somebody. If you know somebody that's grieving right now, please share this video with them Please comment below if you have something to share, and if you don't want to say any details, just put a love heart. I am sending you love, I'm sending you light, and I just pray that you continue to be strong, you continue to live your life, you continue to create new memories. I hope this video has helped one or two people. If this video has resonated with you, I would like you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.